Hey guys, what's up? I hope that you are all doing well. I have so much to say in this episode today, so I hope that you guys are ready. Please make sure that you take notes on anything that you feel like you want to hold and keep with you. You know, all of the videos that I do, guys, they're always geared towards helping lead you in the right direction so that you can really create the life that you desire for yourself. And so, if anything that I ever say resonates with you, like, don't be afraid to write that stuff down. I used to do this all the time whenever I would watch videos of people on YouTube who were offering solutions to things that I was having trouble dealing with. And sometimes I still do this. Like, I'm just a chronic note taker. I love being able to write things down so that I can remind myself of them, especially when I get into periods where I have a lot of self doubt. Whenever I notice that my limiting beliefs are speaking a lot louder than my feelings of confidence and my feelings of being secure with my level of self-worth. And so that's what I recommend for you guys. And so I'm going to hop right into it. The first thing I want to remind you of is the fact that good things can and will happen within those hectic and chaotic moments of your life. And I'm saying this from experience because my life has been like super messy, just in different areas and in different periods of my life. Like when I think back to moments when I was younger, I'm thinking back in uncertainty with like my spirituality and how I was trying to handle having certain spiritual experiences, especially things that aren't like common everyday experiences that everyone has, but you might be someone who has periods like that. And so when those things happen, you might start to question your sanity. Like you literally might be like, am I a crazy person? Is what I'm seeing and experiencing real? And so what I have to say to you is just to keep in mind, first and foremost, like not everything that we get information about as of like right now in 2022, like there are things that are like gaps in information is really what I'm trying to say here. Like, for example, right? Like, say if you're struggling with anxiety or something like that, there's so much research on anxiety. There's a lot that people know about it. There's a lot that you can look and test and track. And even within that, there are going to be things that maybe you experience that's different from other people who are having problems with their anxiety. There are still things about having an experience with anxiety that maybe researchers or other people in your life don't know about. Why? Because they haven't looked into it and researched it yet. That's how we find out new information that over time becomes the norm. It becomes um, like accepted information when hearing about people experiencing anxiety. And so I'm offering this to you so that you can remind yourself of this, because it is the same thing when you have certain spiritual experiences, right? Like, especially with spirituality, there are certain things that maybe you have experienced at some point in your life, or you're going to experience, or maybe you're experiencing it right now, where you feel like you're out of whack. And not because you feel out of whack intuitively or because that is your reality, but it might be that you're feeling this way because you're starting to doubt and question yourself, because maybe the people around you don't have some of these spiritual experiences. And what I'm saying to you is, it's applicable with even if you're not having spiritual experiences, maybe you're just dealing with something with your health, like me right now. Like, I have so much uncertainty when it comes to my physical health. Like, you guys know, if you've been watching my episodes or previous videos, you guys know I have lupus, and that definitely causes significant challenges for me in my life, especially right now. I also have some uncertainty with other like health issues, and my doctor's just trying to figure out like what is the source of the problem. Is this a significant problem, and if so, how do we tackle it? So no matter what area of your life you find that my words are resonating with you in this moment, I just want to take this as an opportunity to remind you that, and I say this a lot, like, things in your life can always get better. Things can always improve. The way that your life looks today is not going to be the way that it has to look like tomorrow, or even 3 weeks from now, or a year. And so that's why it is so important to extend gratitude. And I know you guys probably hear people say this a lot, and there's a reason why if people are saying this stuff a lot. It's because gratitude is the foundation for miracles. Like, it truly is. I can think of a specific moment in my life where, you know, something happened and I was really distressed about it. And I thought that nothing was ever going to change in that area of my life, but then it did. Like, it happens like that, where sometimes you really feel like quitting, or you feel like giving up, whether it's, you feel like giving up on a goal that you've been working towards, or maybe you've lost hope in a relationship, or maybe you just feel like nothing's going to get better in your life because things are so hard, things are so difficult, things are so chaotic. But I'm here to tell you that sometimes the miracle can happen right in that period where you feel like you're ready to give up, when you feel like there's no one or nothing out there that's able to support you with whatever it is that you're dealing with. And if that's where you are, please, please, please know that you don't have to give up. Like, this is a personal choice. And sometimes it's a hard choice to make, to continue to just like live your life and continue to try and show up every single day. And that can be like maybe the hardest decision that you've ever made in your life. Like, this is a reality for many people on the planet right now, when they feel like they just don't want to continue. But just remember, life is a series of highs and lows. You're always going to have periods where you have highs and lows. I don't care how awakened, how intelligent, how smart, how thoughtful, how many coping strategies and things that you've been able to develop into your life. You're always going to have moments where you feel like this is a high period and this is a low period, because that's how life is. Good things are going to happen, and things that maybe we don't desire are going to happen. But one thing that you will always have control over is how you are going to think about what's happening to you. You can always control how you are going to choose to deal with something when it happens in your life. You can't control the circumstances. You can't control other people. You can't control how other people are going to think and feel about those circumstances, or even about you as a person. And I'm aware that, if you're watching this video, as many people are, like, a lot of the people who are watching these videos, you probably have struggled in your childhood. Maybe you've had so many unfortunate things happen in your life, and you feel like your life is a lot harder than other people, and you have a hard time dealing with that. If that's the case, first off, know that you're not alone. There are so many people who feel the same way. And I also want you to fully understand and sit with what I'm saying, is that you can always change your mindset. That is one thing you will always have, and nobody can take that away from you. You will always have your intuition. Nobody in the world can take that away from you. That's something that you hold, and it's your right to be able to use and exercise these things. And it doesn't mean that you're failing or that you're like being cursed or you're just an unlucky person because certain things are showing up in your life that you have a hard time dealing with. It doesn't mean that you're being punished in some way, but that's how it feels sometimes when things are so overwhelming and you feel like you're drowning. And so I encourage you to think about what would happen right now if you prioritized how your life feels versus what it looks like. Because when shit is really hard, it can look messy in our lives. Maybe the way that we're dealing with things can look messy, whether, you're doing things like looking for validation, or maybe you have really bad habits, like maybe you're dealing with some kind of addiction right now, or maybe you're doing things that you recognize are misaligned with who you are as a person and the kinds of things that you really want to, like how you really want to show up in this world. And so I encourage you to maybe start thinking more about how you feel versus what you feel like these things look like on the surface. And it's so funny that I'm even sharing this right now, because this is something that really is kind of like at the forefront in my own personal life right now. I tend to be kind of like an anxious thinker. Like I tend to be someone who I love to like label things. And because, right, like when we label things, we feel like we resonate with it, or we can connect and understand it because we feel like it gives us more information about ourselves and whatever it is that we're dealing with. But sometimes when you put so much energy behind a label, it takes away from the actual experience that you're having, what it is that you're able to gain from an experience, or just how you feel when experiencing that experience. So that's why I'm saying to you, like, really think about and prioritize how you're feeling, right? Because if you're focusing more on how you can add more happiness into your life, you're focusing less on everything that you feel like is wrong, every single thing that you feel like you need to tackle and change and fix. Because when you kind of like hyper fixate on everything that's wrong, that means now your mind's focusing on what's wrong. And when you focus on all of those things, it's just a product of how our brains work, right? Like our brains are wired to keep us safe. So when you're focusing on all of these things that you deem to be completely wrong in your life, your brain is going to start to notice more things that you think are wrong. So you're going to start finding more things that maybe usually you wouldn't put so much mental energy and effort behind viewing as a problem. And that is what leads us to feeling overwhelmed sometimes. Like it can feel overwhelming to feel like you need to fix every single thing in your life. Like some of these things that your brain may be picking up on might not even be actual problems. They might just be things that are undesirable. And there's a difference. And here's how you know the distinction. Something that's undesirable means it's something that you don't desire, but maybe is just happens to be a circumstance in your life, regardless of whether it's a circumstance because of something you've created, something that you've done, or if it's something that, you feel like life has just thrown your way. That's different than you having a certain circumstance and you feel like you just need to figure out every single problem. And I don't know what else I was going to say there, because I was just totally thinking about something else and then I lost it. You guys know, like sometimes I have this happen, like I'll think about something and then it just kind of like goes out the window because I can't remember it. But don't fret. Like, whatever comes up for me is what I share. And I truly do believe that, well, partially, I think some of this is the fact that I view myself as someone who's good at understanding other people, their problems, and I have a gift for being able to explain those things and deliver it in a way where people feel like they can get help for those challenges. Um, and also at the same time too, like, I think it's a product of, just me praying about things. Like, I pray for God and my spiritual league and team to send me like messages to say to people to help them with their problems, right? Because we're all connected. So many of the problems that you are having right now are probably problems that I have, or I have had, or maybe I'll have at some point in my life. There's so many same problems that you're having right now that someone else is having. And I really believe that when you are open to receiving those kinds of messages, they will come to you and you'll be able to share those things with people and to help them with things that they're going through. So I'm just sharing that so like none of you guys are freaking out or anything like that if I start saying something and then it, like turns into something else. I just take that as like maybe you guys needed to hear that other thing more than something else that I was going to share anyway. So it's cool. And so with that being said, I was thinking about today, like the fact that right before we're about to make a really important decision, right before we are about to fully stand and show up in a commitment that we've made to ourselves, we have moments where we start to open. You start to expand. And sometimes when we think about openness and expansion, we expect that we're always going to feel good about it. Like we're going to feel happy when we make a big decision in our lives, like whether that is you fully focusing and choosing to build a business, for example, right? Or whatever it is, you think that you're going to feel happy all the time, like when you're making these decisions. And that's not true. What happens when you expand is you will for sure start to think about your flaws. You'll start to think about your shortcomings. You'll think about insecurities. You'll think about past mistakes in your life that you subconsciously deem to be reasons why you don't deserve good things. And I want you to know that not every single thought that you have in your mind is true. Like we have thoughts all the time where they're kind of like, there's no real deep meaning behind them. Like if you're like me, maybe you struggle with this, because sometimes I struggle with this. Like I'll have random passing thoughts and I'm like, oh God, what is like the meaning behind this? What is the deeper like reason? But sometimes things like maybe there is nothing like deep underneath that has to be uprooted and picked out. Like sometimes we just have random thoughts in passing and that's okay. But that is different. We respond to that differently than someone who maybe would have the same thought and they're able to just like dismiss it or let it pass. And we put so much energy behind it that it can start to cause us anxiety, can start to cause us stress. We start to think that every single thought that we have must mean something about our value or our worth, and that is absolutely not true. And especially this will happen if you have a moment of spiritual expansion where things are difficult in your life and you're about to make a really big good decision that could positively impact you, positively impact your life. And that brings up fear. It's normal, and it's to be expected sometimes. And so I want you to know that it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong because you feel fearful about doing something good for yourself or something good in your life. Like, for example, right? It could even be small stuff that's like feels really big. Like, I just had a dance class for the first time yesterday, a ballroom dancing private lesson, and it was so much fun. Like, my day started off so rough in the beginning. Like, I was having such a hard time, and just being able to go to this dance lesson, and I had so much fun. Just having that experience changed my entire mood, because it was something I've been thinking about for a while. It was something I wanted to do, and it felt scary for me doing it, not dancing in years, not ever really dancing with a partner. And I started to feel some of my old stories come up about feelings of like, just like my body, or how I think that I look. I started like feeling a little bit nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, we're probably going to be dancing in a mirror. And if we dance in a mirror, then I have to, I'll be hyper focused on how I think I look dancing. Like, oh my God, do I look awkward? Do I look weird? Is this person judging me right now? Like, all these thoughts that come up when we're about to do something that really could potentially be good for us. And that is why it is so important to know the difference between what I just shared versus feeling like your intuition is telling you not to do something because it's something that's going to be hurtful or something that goes against your values, your morals, your personal belief system, and things like that. Because there really is a difference. And I encourage you to watch my other videos, listen to the episodes of my podcast. I mean, what I'm sharing right now is part of an episode from my podcast, but I have some episodes that are recorded on Apple Podcasts for this show, All for the Dreamers, that I haven't put out here on YouTube yet. So go check those things out, because I talk about how to listen to your intuition, how to tell when you're getting like an intuitive download or an intuitive message versus, you're overthinking things in your mind, things in your head. And if you guys want to hear more about that stuff, definitely please let me know in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love to help you guys in that way. Also, feel free to reach out to me. I am a certified life and spiritual coach, so I'd love to help you guys. I mentor people all of the time, whether you are trying to work on things that I've dealt with, and so I'm able to mentor you in that space, or if you're dealing with other things and you just want someone to hold space for you and show up for you and help you create commitments to work towards your goals and work through these really dark, difficult periods in your life, I can offer that to you as well. And I'd love to help you guys in any way. Like, this truly is a very deep passion of mine. And I believe by being able to show up for yourself, you are creating a great model for change in the world. And you're able to change the world from you just working on yourself. And so I definitely encourage you to do that. And you guys can visit my website, biancaward.com. I'm working on rebranding, so things look a little bit different. I'm so excited for you guys to see that. Please let me know what you think about that as well. I have so many offers at different price points for you guys. And I'm also able to create a custom one-on-one coaching and mentorship package for you if that's something that you want. But working with me one-on-one is the best way for you to get personalized, individualized support, to where I can work with you, your energy, your thoughts, your specific challenges that you're having, and meet you where you are so you can work towards where you want to be. And so I want you guys to, if you're feeling any kind of guilt, or you find yourself in these feelings of like insecurities and things like that, I want you to know, like, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Okay. And if you're feeling guilt, actually, and I just learned this, and your guilt might not come until later in the future, for certain things that maybe you've done that feel unrelated to whatever your goal or big decision is that you're about to make. Those things are still meaningful and valuable because they're showing you things that you can work on. They're showing you things that maybe you can confront so that you can remember that you're valuable and that you are worthy. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. And if you're feeling that guilt, then I don't know, in my head, like, I take that as extra, like, confirmation too, that like you're not really a bad person, because you wouldn't be feeling guilt unless you recognize that you've done something that goes against who you are, something that goes against your value system, something that goes against how much you value other people. Okay, so that's like my own personal way of seeing things. And I want to share something else as well that actually my therapist shared with me like 2 weeks ago, and it was super helpful, and it feels like it's something that maybe you guys need to hear as well. And that's, if you find yourself in frequent periods of guilt and shame, okay, know that that may be coming from you creating criteria around what makes you a good or a bad person, right? So no one can tell you if you are a good or a bad person. That is something that you are going to decide for yourself. Now, there are some things that are exceptions, like things that I think we can pretty much everyone can agree are really bad things to do to someone, right? I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about when you create criteria and you say, if I don't do blank, blank, blank every single day at this time, or if I don't show up and do blank, blank, blank whenever blank, blank, blank situation happens, then that automatically must mean that I'm a bad person. And that does not have to be true. You create standards for yourself. Now, if you're living by that kind of criteria, you're going to find yourself in periods of guilt and shame. But if you can start to maybe focus more on your standards, your morals, maybe your belief systems, that might lead you in a healthier direction. And you're going to notice a change in how you feel. You might start to feel better. And you deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel empowered and sure of yourself and your worth. But don't take it as a failure if you're struggling to show up and do those things, guys. It doesn't mean that you have to be like this awful person in the world. Okay? And so I'm going to leave you guys with that. And I hope that you were able to take some things away from this episode, because that's my whole point in showing up and doing these. No matter what my life looks like, I always make sure that I show up for you guys. And I'm grateful that you are here. Please make sure that you share this video with someone in your life who you feel like may need to hear these messages. If someone came up in your mind while you were watching this, you might as well just send the video to that person. Who knows, that might have been an answer to that person's prayers. You never know what some people are praying for solutions about. And I also would love to ask you guys, please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. Subscribe to this podcast if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or any podcasting platform. It really means the world to me whenever you guys watch my videos and you leave a review. And if I've helped you with something with this episode, definitely let me know. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.